Tackle Trading's Trade Masters. This is our first Trade Master of the year. Kind of feels like we took on a little bit of a hiatus, boys, as we had the Christmas season, then we had New Year's, and now we're getting back at it at the first of the year. And quite frankly, market is setting right at that multiple time frame level of resistance, 7K. It certainly played a role here today, as we were talking in the Traders Lounge earlier today. We were dealing with a little bit of a flag-based pattern. That flag-based pattern turned into a complete rejection at that 7K level on the intraday side of the equation. That looks a little scary on the daily chart. That's just an inside candle based on Tuesday. I'm going to go to Coach Frank first to give me his technical thoughts on the S&P 500 and the market itself. Then I'm going to go to Bobby. Frank, what's your thoughts on the market as we dial in Trade Masters here today?
Well, first off, great to be back for Trade Masters. Enjoyed the holidays, but glad that we're getting back into our normal market routine. So hope everybody had a great holiday season. I know that coming back, this is what I wanted, right? I didn't really want the breakout in the broad market over the low volume holiday lulls, right? I wanted good structure to develop. We got that. We got that higher low that developed off the most recent pullback. So we're not running as far into that breakout channel as we were if it would have happened during the holiday season. So it's, dialing it in, as Coach Matt and I are like to say. This is a fantastic breakout. We've really done nothing for almost 3 months, right? I mean, we went back and forth, but we basically have taken a long breather. That's usually a good thing, in my opinion, for breakout. So I'm all aboard the breakout, and you haven't broke till you broke. But if we get the break, and I do lean that, I do expect that personally.
That's what the
I think
pattern
it's,
suggests right now.
yeah, I think we're pretty excited overall, seeing pretty broad participation, right? Been, very strongly led by cyclicals, but semiconductors been leading over on the tech side of things. Some of the tech names starting to perk up just a little bit. Really good breakout look, I believe, going into this, or maybe even more ideally next week.
Yeah. Bobby, what's your thoughts here on the general market? You getting ready for the breakout like Frank? You got concern? How you navigating this ascending triangle on the S&P as we start the year?
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, it's, just as I've been writing in my options report, always be prepared for what the next move is, whether you're going to get that break above, this level here, or if you're going to get another retest of like the 20 or any, weekly long-term moving averages. So, it's always for me, just, be prepared, expect for all the scenarios. You get your breakout. What are you going to do when you get that breakout? If you get another sell-off, kind of a retest down to the 20 daily, what's your plan of action for that? So just kind of dialing in what your rules are for whatever scenario happens. But for right now, you get that break, as it looks like it's going to happen. I'm all for it, especially with a lot of plays going into the new year. So.
Well, the good Boy Scout Bobby Frankie says be prepared, and I certainly do agree with that.
Yeah,
And
falling
when
for
you're
that.
and I love what he said about the preparation of what are you going to do in scenario A? What are you going to do in scenario B? We're talking potential breakouts. The question everybody that should be on everybody's mind is, what are you going to do if this daily chart closes above 7K? Because that would be the confirmation trigger on this ascending triangle and would kickstart a new trend, most likely. And so I do think it goes without saying, resistance on any time frame is a hard thing to break.
You respect it.
Correct?
You
Okay.
respect it. Yep.
And when you deal with resistance levels against a multiple time frame, meaning the 7K level of resistance is an intraday level of resistance. It's a daily level of resistance. It's a weekly level of resistance. It's a monthly level of resistance. And yes, because of the time, it's a quarterly level of resistance as well. On every single time frame can be tough to ask. Couple catalysts coming fairly quickly over the next couple of days to keep an eye on. Number one, labor market data coming out on Friday. That can certainly be a catalyst. You also have the Supreme Court releasing the tariff news this Friday as well. That should be hitting the wire Friday sometime as well. What does the Supreme Court do in the case of the ultimate right and authority of who can put out tariffs in America? That should create a little bit of a catalyst both on up or down, depending on what the news is. So keep an eye on that. But this in Trade Masters is a technical conversation. We're getting ready for potential breakouts here. And so let's help our community with kind of what's on the coach's mind as we're looking at this potential breakout. Let's go into round one here in Trade Masters. And if you love Trade Masters, you love tackle trading, make sure to give us a nice little like and share, make a comment as well, as we thoroughly enjoy all of those things. Frankie, let's start with you as the old trusty vet here in round one. What's your round one pick, and what's your thoughts?
Oh, well, I'm excited about this one, Maddie. I know you're excited about him too, because I know that you're about as big of a sucker for a beautiful reversal on a long-term time frame as me. So we're starting with DOCN, Digital Ocean. I'll probably
Can I say one thing before you go?
You absolutely.
And I don't want to steal your thunder here, but this might be the best looking weekly chart in the market.
It's definitely not the worst.
Yeah,
it is definitely.
You talk about getting dialed in there, brother. But anyways, continue.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I think starting on the weekly like you did is the correct approach here, right? Because we'll use the daily to get in, of course, but it really is a big break. There is, when things have been in these long-term ranges at support where it's really earned it, right? It come back down to mid-20s, bounce back to mid-20s, bounce. I mean, we are going all the way back, a few years now, right? So that those long developing reversal patterns, they really make the weekly chart look fantastic, and a ton of room to go on these guys, right? So when we get to talking targeting, I think you can be pretty aggressive if you would like to do so. Coming into the daily, so we got our backdrop, and that's why I think, at least I like DOCN, is because of that weekly. But I'll look at the daily as a way to get in. And I think the last 2 days are very telling. We broke out yesterday, right? That's a big bar, good volume too, as we kind of broke out of that little top that had developed, at around $52. If you didn't get in that day, I didn't, right? So, I should have, but I wasn't really thinking in those terms at the point in time. This inside candle, I call it the high inside, right? Where you're basically an inside candle, all of the action at the top of the candle range from yesterday. This always dials it in for any continuation move. Now I basically have an intraday double top, right? With a higher low today that at least presents a legitimate tight stop loss option if that's the route that I want to go. So I think we're just looking to get above the high of these two candles, which would be yesterday's at 54.41. To me, that is go time, and this is just expect the follow through. I do think there's a little bit at $60 worth keeping an eye on, but it is not particularly scary in my opinion. So I think that is a target. I think it'll depend on you if you want to use the candlestick low from today. I think that's, so if you really want a real swingy type of trade, right? I'm kind of a longer swing trade, swing to position style, but I have no problem if somebody says stop loss under today's low, high over this double top from the last 2 trading days, target at $60. Whatever you need for T1 is what I would do there, right? I go 1-to-1, but we'll just call it 57.50 by 60. And if that's kind of the pure swing trade, I think that makes a lot of sense. I don't dislike the idea of getting a little bit more room, getting a stop loss under $52 though, Maddie. That gives me not just that level,
got a couple wicks resistance levels at 52.
Exactly. And that was that breakout bar, right? That we saw yesterday.
And there was also some 52 analysis over here as well.
Yeah, there was. And the 90 EMA, while it's not there, that bad boy is moving really
there
quick. It's there in 2 days. And so I tend to, all things being equal, probably, I'll do both, but if I had to say, I prefer more room than less room on stop losses. And so I would kind of look toward under that 52 level, but I do believe both of them are legitimate options. I probably wouldn't give it a ton more room than that. Again, there's room for discussion always, right? But I wouldn't give it a ton more room from that. I would expect that if there's legs on this breakout and I do end up getting confirmed and take out these highs, then I shouldn't get back down there, or people are going to be worried, hey, was this a fake out, right? So I like either of those options, just depending on you. I prefer under 52. What I think I'm going to do, because I like the under 52, I think 60 is T1, and then basically just play the momentum stick around until I either get to earnings and I run out of time, or I actually get a reason to get knocked out.
And
Whether,
you do have some time on this one. This
we
is
do,
not even
yeah.
in earnings season. It's late stage earnings
Yeah,
season.
we have
So you
a
got some
lot more
time.
time than the average stock. So I'm going to be kind of open-ended beyond 60 from a
Mhm.
targeting point of view, because momentum will take over, right? I do have a little bit of concern, and that's maybe not the right word, but I have a little respect for the 60 level. I do think that's a
I have
legitimate
respect for
target.
60.
But
I think it is a legitimate target at 60.
yeah, I
There's
think
a
so too.
lot of
There's a
body
lot there. Yeah,
over here.
there's a lot of action from
Now, it just so
baseline, right?
happened was in 2022, but there is still
But
a
it was
lot
still
of
there,
body analysis
right?
over there.
So
Doesn't
really
matter
nice
if it was
clean
10 or
window.
15 years ago, the algorithms don't know that.
The price is the price. The action
Yeah.
was the action, right? So I do respect that
Got a
level.
couple
Anything down there.
questions
Yeah.
for you on the swing. You're looking at swing here, correct?
I'm kind of looking swing into position.
Because
So
the position analysis here is quite strong. Um,
yeah.
you got a long-term weekly break here, daily, weekly, monthly break here. And when you look at the consistency of the short-term trend here,
Oh, it's
the
been
9
beautiful.
weekly is just stands out there. Just
Yeah. Good
stands
old,
out there.
yeah, good old nine
And
weekly. Good
I
friend.
totally get the swing trade mentality because it's a pretty decent little swing trade situation. But you don't want to just get stuck at 60 and 3 months later you're seeing that.
Yeah.
Because it does open up there a little bit.
Oh yeah. Opened up a lot.
So yeah, just and secondarily, Frankie, you talk about the high end side. Would more development help the pattern, or do you think it's as of right now ready to get you up and go, regardless if you get another 2 days of consolidation or not?
To that question, I would say either. I just need the one high inside.
Yeah,
So I'm cool with it over these highs whenever it happens. But I really don't. I guess if I had a sweet spot, I would say one more candle.
two
Right.
two two
So
bars high.
basically, so
So
yeah,
after
so
a big green candle, it would be two high
it would
inside
be
would be
two
kind of
high
the
inside.
Goldilocks.
Tomorrow is a carbon copy of today's, mostly because that puts more value on the stop loss location under that low,
On the
right? Right
90
now,
EMA under 52.
yeah,
Yeah.
it just gives you better structure,
It
more
tightens
structure
everything up a little bit.
on the stop loss.
Yeah.
So, if I could have my, perfect scenario, probably would
Yeah.
be two and then break.
Honestly, I was just curious because I know both you and I like a high end side and we don't love chasing big bars. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
love to
You,
digest
you
those
want to
things.
let that get digested to make sure that that move is a real move. And if you don't have to go too far to understand some of that because we saw big time bars in energy and no high end side candle development. You want to
Yeah,
see if
just
that move's real. And so far, that initial
so
move
far
is not real on
that was a
energy.
loud no.
Massive rejection here. And so it's one of those things that I think is actually fairly important when you're talking about the development of that pattern because nobody wants to chase an overextended candle. Like
It
you want
just
to see that get dialed in. Love the
you,
conversation here, Frankie.
absolutely.
Bobby, DigitalOcean. I'm gonna tell you, this judge has a little bit of bias here. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh
I
yeah,
am
I'm gonna
a
have to try to
big
swing
fan.
you.
I am a big fan of DigitalOcean. But can you beat it, match it? What do you got in store for round one for us, brother?
Well, I think I can, probably match it just because, th this next one I'm going to pick here is from something that you were doing a lot of research in the last couple of weeks. I'm going to look at CDE, core mining
Well,
from the
if you're gonna get to this judge's heart,
That
mentioning the
tackle
tackle 25
25
is
CDE, put some respect on the
yeah,
name.
that's
Yeah.
that's dirty, sexy money, CDE. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. Uh,
Like,
all right,
Yeah.
now we're even. DigitalOcean and CDE, we're even now. Let's go.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Every year when you come out with the Tackle 25, I always gravitate toward the Dirty Sexy Money. It's probably one of the best lists that, I mean, all the lists are great, but Dirty Sexy Money, you get some high flyers, like you can get little gems like this, it's $19.27. So, I try to gravitate towards that. But, looking at this is not like the reversal, when you're like Frank's showing on DigitalOcean. But if you go out to the monthly here, I mean, just look at this. This one is, it's kind of, it's wanting to do a rounding bottom here. It's wanting to kind of break out. You got some momentum over this 200 monthly moving average. You got a nice little break. Same here on the weekly. You got a nice little momentum there. You're kind of forming that, long king's bed here on the daily. very structured here. One thing I will point out with this is it's a mover. So, we were talking in pre-production. This one can move pretty fast and pretty quick. I mean, you got an ATR of $1.17.
I
So
don't know why I have to explain it, but there's a reason the name is dirty and sexy. I'm just saying, there's a reason there's those two names in the name of the watch list.
Oh yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, another thing too to point out is, the materials sector in general, XLB, if you want to pull up
Good
that
point.
real quick,
Good point.
it is looking pretty darn good. You got a lot of momentum on there too. I mean, today's candle doesn't kind of justify itself, but overall, and just I mean that weekly chart on XLB is just so nice. So um you got that sector to kind of back it up. With it being such a high flyer, I mean, you can go directionally on this one. I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, it will move pretty quickly. If you want to just do a quick little swing trade, over the high there, the line you just draw, stop, you can either go below that candle to high, or you can either go right where you have a line. So, you have a couple different options with it being a cheaper stock. But for me, with it being on the dirty, sexy money, I'm very biased. I do like to do a lot of boomeranging on this list just because, I do like the premiums. I mean, when you go out, I mean, even just going out 9 days,
That's
I
the
mean, you,
sexy part is the
yeah,
premium.
that implied volatility
The
does
dirty
bring.
part is the volatility that you have to deal with to get the premium. But that again, I'm just describing dirty sexy. So, what expiration date are you looking here on the boomerang to start the
I mean,
boomerang?
with stocks like this, I mean, you could go. I mean, it is kind of a dealer's choice. Like, I mean, I don't know. I'm not opposed to going 9 days out and looking and seeing what I could get, just depending on what point level on the chart, I want to own the stock. I mean, this is one where, if you do want to get a sign, I don't mind 9 days. Finding something like $18, 17 and a
Mhm.
half. I know that's a pretty aggressive, but that's not
Well, if you
bad.
want to if you want ownership though, that's right at that support level.
Yep.
Correct. Correct. Absolutely. I mean, I try for me, if it's just a trade, I like to stay within that 30-day window. I just think that, you get your best time decay within the 30 days. So,
Mhm.
what I was kind of eyeing there is, more of the 30, 23 day, which is the Jan 30th. Um, I was looking more around that, 17-ish. You do bring in, decent
Mhm.
premium there, either 17 or 16. I mean, you definitely get a decent ROI there, percentage wise. So, I guess it just depends on which level, someone, likes. Me, I do like that 17. I do like bringing in a little premium. I'm not scared of owning it, and
Mhm.
selling covered calls. So, I think a naked put into cover calls on this one is, I think, the right strategy to play.
Well, that is kind of the strategy that we work off in the DSM list. Naked put to cover call analysis. Love the naked put here. By the way, that naked put premium is ridiculous. It's like $170 margin for $50 in premium. Um, what is that? Like 28% return
Yeah, I'm not gonna
on
do
a
the math, but it's
like
good.
23 delta? It's
Yeah.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it's
Um,
very good.
but yeah, it's a good one. I like it here on CDE because it does give you options here. If you wanted to be aggressive and go direction, you got a pretty good resistance level, and you really don't have anything for about 3 points up here. Naked put here plays as well. I think Mark is thinking, man, I wish the market was open. I would already sold the naked put here.
Yep, they would have.
But love the analysis. Team, let us know which one you prefer. I'll go first. I like them both. But that directional multiple time frame situation on DigitalOcean is special. Like it's just put it in a textbook. I love it. The multiple time frame feel to it. Um, Personally, I think you could play it in a variety of different ways. I think a
Oh yeah.
flag would even play on it, Frankie.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like if it
Hold
wants to
hold
base,
52.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of ways that could set up, but I do like the longer term story there. And CDE was one of the easiest picks I had for Dirty Sexy Money, so I really don't think you could to go wrong here. I think they're both really really fantastic, but you have to pick. I'm gonna go with digital. Frankie, are you gonna stick with digital, and Bobby, are you gonna stick with yours after
Yeah,
the
I'll
conversation?
hold the line.
Holding the line, Bobby holding the line as
I'm
well.
holding the line here too.
I
Yeah.
like it. I like it. I like it. Hold the line. I think Maximus said that one time.
Uh-huh.
I think
Yeah.
so. All right,
Sometimes it
let's go
works.
into round two here, team, and vast differences. I know your guys' picks. There you couldn't get you couldn't get a little bit more different in round two
Yeah,
here.
there's
Uh,
Oh
definitely,
yeah.
yeah, this one's, yes.
yeah, they're all tied in some capacity on the AI trade,
Oh,
but
yeah, I
that's
guess
an
you got that.
infrastructure build out scenario. Bobby, we're going to start with you in round two here. Let's, what do you got for us on your second pick?
I'm gonna go with NVIDIA here on my second pick.
Bobby's not
Reason
messing around.
I'm not messing around. As
Big
I
dog.
mentioned before on here, NVIDIA, I look at this chart every day. I look at actually all the Mag 7s. I have a separate watch list like you do, Matt, here. I know you have it somewhere in your watch list, but I
Always
look at the Mag 7s all the time because I just think that it pretty much gives you the gauge. One of the gives you a little bit of a gauge of the market. Plus, you have to look at your Mag 7s. You get a setup in there, with how liquid they are, there's always something you can build. Whether it's a cheapie or whether credit, debit spread. So I seen this chart today, and I was like, if you can break above this high, where you're at here, which is I think at the 194-ish zone, could break above that, you definitely can
ultimately, I
come
think if
back.
you just close above 192 and like change,
Yeah,
like you see here on the intraday, just kind of getting dialed in there.
yeah,
Um, those wicks can give you a little bit of a nightmare up to 194, but I would call it 192.25 on the breakout level on NVIDIA personally. Don't want to jump
absolutely.
on your analysis. Apologize.
No, no,
Uh,
you clear it. Usually, if I don't have a clear resistance zone, I do like to go to the intradays, like
yeah.
whether it's an hourly or 30 minute, just to kind of clean that up, get a little, kind of clean air on this one.
Mhm.
One of the reasons I like this one is, you do have an IV of 39, which is, for me, it's in the middle where you can either go directional or you can either go credit on this one. With it not breaking that 92 zone yet, I do favor more of the credit side just because, I'll wait for that breakout. If it
Yeah.
breaks that 92, then I'll go back in with that credit money and I'll try to see if I can maybe, build out a spread or build out some type of, butterfly, Debbie Con, something pretty much that spread pays for. On this one here for the credit, I was looking at, like I said, I like to stay within that 30-day window. So I was looking at the February 6th, and I was not opposed to the 170 by 165, which brings you in about 64 cents. Um, you are pretty far. Well, when I look at this chart here, you are pretty. You're the 170, which is your top strike,
Mhm.
is right at that support zone. So you are pretty far out there. You do got a support zone there to kind of back you if it does sell off. If you want to stay in and wait, it could bounce off that support zone at 170.
Very, very important support zone at
Yeah,
172.
big
Like
level.
it's been dialed in over time. That's a good level to anchor on.
But if it does break out, it breaks above that 192, I mean, you have room, you could use that credit, like I mentioned, and you can go out and try to find yourself some type of spread or some type of play to play it in directional fashion as well. So I definitely
You're
like
also
the
about
video.
3.5 ATRs away, which is really good too. Like your
Yeah.
your range is good, your support level's good. This is pretty good bull put spread here, Bobby.
I mean, one thing I will say too is a lot of times when I build my credits out, I do heavily use your spreadsheet that shows you the ROID and everything. That comes in handy a lot just to see where I'm at versus my delta. Oh yeah.
QB.
I'm
Let's
not
do
gonna
I
it.
fill it
filled
out today, but
I filled that thing out a lot
uh,
lately.
I I I do like the spreadsheet as well. By the way, I did send the spreadsheet to everybody that attended the credit spread webinar on Monday. And if you haven't had a chance to watch that credit spread webinar, I thought we had a wonderful
Yeah,
time.
for sure.
Hope everybody learned a ton. The link is in the description in YouTube. So you just have to hit the link. It's the live events page. It was a wonderful webinar,
Yeah,
and you can
definitely
also
worth
see
catching.
any of those webinars. We did yeah, we did six of them during the webinar season.
Yeah, good
No,
stuff in there. Yeah, check it out for sure.
So going with
yeah,
the bull put spread 170 by 165, 30 days out, cooking a 16 delta contract and looking to cash flow $64 against a buck 436 a margin. That's going to be about 80 on the roid is what it would be, and that is a very good credit spread, quite frankly. I
Yeah,
like
this.
the pick there, Bob.
Yeah.
Let's go to Coach Frank, round two. What's your thoughts on competing against NVIDIA's bull put spread here?
Listen, I respect a coward as much as the next guy, but I'm going to go more
Are
directional.
you
I'm going
saying
to,
that just for NVIDIA or because both of his picks were theta-based trades?
yes, both of them. I feel like I'm battling Coach Mark here
Yeah,
today.
like Mark is salivating over there, being like, "Oh man,
Yeah,
I wish
yeah.
I had a chance to
Mark
be
Mark
Bobby's
was thinking
coach." Like,
I'm voting Nvidia for sure, but I'm about to throw something that's very near and dear to his heart in URA at him, and I'm going to make it a heck of a lot tougher on him. This is a beautiful, beautiful dial in on uranium. And there is a lot of really good looks in uranium. Of course, CCJ, the biggest player in this particular ETF's already broken out, already marching up to their highs. They're the top holding in that ETF. But you got, smaller dollar ballers like, and UROY that are looking
is
really,
that
really
four
solid.
use energy
It's
fuels? Is
four
that,
U's, yeah.
yeah,
So it's four U's. You got four
that's actually a
U's.
really good look too.
Yeah, you got a cheapie, an old UROY, $4 stock, very, very similar. You got
Yeah,
UEC. Bob
they're
and I were
all
looking at them.
on the same
All of
gasoline.
these uranium stocks have a very similar look, and the biggest name of the bunch is leading. I tend to believe
CCJ.
that
Yeah.
is a good thing. So I do believe if you prefer individual names to the ETF outright, I think there is legitimate options there. But I'll just stick with the ETF because that makes it very easy. I don't have to think through those options, right? We've already broken through. We've already confirmed. So I don't need anything other than upward movement in price. This is just an in progress bullish retracement on the weekly, right? This would be a king's bet on the daily where you have that deeper retracement, you double or triple bottom, get back on the right side of all those moving averages. We talk about all the time in the stuff that we do, how difficult it is to expect that to happen right overnight. That's why time is your friend, at least from a development situation. Well, we've had that, right? Good volume, closed above everything here today. It's just, and it's looking like it's getting ready to really confirm on that weekly time frame. And quite honestly, I didn't do this on purpose, but they don't really have much to $60 either, like DigitalOcean. Like I didn't mean it wasn't a part of the plan, but when I look at this, I think, why isn't this pushing into that $60 range? You get,
You only got a pivot at 57.
you
Like,
got a little bit there, and you can call that T1,
I
right?
would target
I would,
57
I,
as T1.
yeah, I would call that 57 T1, right? I would agree with that. And again, if you wanted to, to just kind of bar by bar or tight, stop, that might be a legitimate first target. But ultimately, I look at this chart and I say we're
See it
testing the highs
fixing.
down the road. And
Yeah.
so whether that's on one swing or hopefully it's well behaved, right? But I look at this and those are my expectations. You can play, really anything goes here, right? You can definitely get some credit if you're going the ETF route. Of course, I'm going to prefer it on the directional side. That's big risk to reward as far as that goes, because I do believe 60 is a legitimate target in this particular case. Stop loss wide. I mean, anything over today's high, in my opinion, is confirmation. If you triggered today, I think you were
I
were
think you
fine.
could argue it already confirmed.
Yeah, I would argue that that it did. We closed it yesterday, in my opinion. So this is just that follow through, but this is today and not yesterday. So anything over that high goes, and then you do want to give it a little bit of room, right, on the stop loss, and I'll kind of leave that to discretion. My starting point, right? I always like to have a starting point where, okay, I might, because I won't in this case, but this is my line in the sand, right? And if I can't get risk reward here, I just got to move on. In this particular case, it would be underneath yesterday's low, below the breakout
Yeah,
channel.
that's the minimum.
That's
Like,
the
you
starting point,
have
right?
to have
That's the
that. Yeah.
starting point. You got to have that. Now, is
Real
there
good
anything?
intraday analysis to support that low too. Like,
So yeah, absolutely. And I don't hate giving a little bit of change, a little bit of wiggle room. I have plenty of reward to play with.
47 makes sense there too.
Yeah, like I wouldn't hate being kind of underneath that little moving average stews
That's right.
area,
The
right?
47, I think, is like the
It's like
perfect stop
it's a
loss
great
place.
spot. It's an old resistance. It's the
Yeah.
50. It will be
That's
the
if you want to give it
9
a little bit
if
more
you want to give
room,
it some room, right?
give
So if
up a
you're,
little bit of your return versus risk ratio.
eh,
But
yep.
yeah, I think you start with yesterday's low and you go to 47. You and I have the exact same thoughts there.
So yeah, just and I do believe it's just a personal choice, right? I tend to like more room than others, but I know plenty of people who don't like the room I use, right? And so one thing I am always doing is pricing out a couple of stop loss locations.
Yeah.
right? How much does that really cost me? Sometimes it
Well,
costs me a lot. Sometimes
I
it
mean,
doesn't cost
Frankie,
me
the
much.
the reality is like when everybody's like, where are you going to put a stop? Well, there's a lot of different types of traders. Number
Yeah.
one, there's a
Yeah.
lot
I
of
mean, a
different
naked put,
people
I'm
that,
probably not doing that. I'm definitely not
well,
going under yesterday.
just
So
even on the directional side, some
yeah.
people like to tighten it up, some people like to give it a little bit of
Yeah.
room, but
There's
the initial stop loss placement is one thing. It's not going to stay there. That's
no,
the
no, we
thing.
don't
Like,
stay there forever. No.
tell me where that stop loss goes. Well, looking for those intraday levels of support. Look for
Yep.
support. Put it underneath the support level, but it's not going to stay there. It's
It's
gonna
going to
move up
start
with
there.
price.
Yeah. It's going to start
Um,
there. And if it
love,
doesn't,
love, love the setup here, Frankie. Love the analysis out of both of you guys, and I think regardless, we're all winners because this analysis was spot on for both Bobby and Coach Frank. Really appreciate that. I'll go first. I'm assuming you two gents are going to stick to your
yeah, I
guns.
mean, I do like, I
Yeah.
mean, I got to be honest. I do
They're
like
all
that
good. They're
NVIDIA
both good.
credit a lot, but listen, I had to be bored throughout the whole back half of December, right? I
Mhm.
ain't starting my new year off without, getting funky. So, give me the more directional edge. I got to
Well,
stick with Fury here.
we certainly see who thinks the 7K breakout's happening this week. Um,
Never hurts to ask, bro.
Yeah.
I'm with you there, brother. I am with you. I think they're both high quality picks, high quality setups, and high quality analysis. I'll go with Bobby on the Nvidia. I love Nvidia number one. So there is some bias there, but I just thought the more than anything, because I'm thinking more than just the trade setup. I loved how Bobby prepped everything. Like I loved how he's looked at the support level that he should be anchoring against. I love how he was thinking about his ATR distance. I love his, taking thought on the roid. And because a lot of times people just get, so caught up in just selling a 20 delta. And as long as you're getting 10% of the spread on a 20 delta, you're good to go. And I just find that to be
Not good
absolutely
enough.
lazy credit
Not good
analysis.
enough.
It
Yeah.
is not good enough. And so I just thought Bobby really, really nailed the what you look for in a high quality bull put spread. So I'm going to go with Bobby on that one, but it's close. I like them both. But as always, we're all the winners because you guys brought the lightning and the thunder here today. Really appreciate it. Frankie, let's go to you for final thoughts. Go to Bobby, and then I'll kind of dial us in.
Oh, yeah, well, great being back. Missed hanging out with the team on YouTube. So thanks for joining us. And of course, as always, I'll throw my Wednesday scan over in the new trader chat when we're done here. If you want to see some of the other names that I kind of was scoping through going into the back half of this week. Earnings season around the corner, so make sure you're staying up to date on your earnings. You got plans for all of that stuff from a managerial perspective, but have some fun out there. Happy New Year, and we'll do it again here next week.
Frankie, basically, he and Bobby, but run the step channel in Discord. And if you love, high quality charts, good picks, high quality conversations, the step channel in the Tackle Trading Discord is awesome. Like you guys do an
Appreciate it.
absolutely
Yeah, we had some fun
fantastic
over
job
there.
in there. Um, I'm there for the charts, but I stick for the conversations.
Yeah,
Like
listen, that's a nice way to say you come for the charts, you stay for the memes. But appreciate it,
that
bro.
that's true. That's true. Bobby, final thoughts, brother.
Yeah, I just want to wish everyone a happy new year. I'm glad to be back. It's felt weird being gone for the last 2 weeks from Trade Masters, but happy to be back. Like you mentioned with the Step channel. I mean, we do a lot of great things over there. One thing we're doing right now is, I mean, we're trying to tone in on our goals. We're trying to have everyone, who participates in there just kind of, write down what their weekly, monthly, and yearly goals are, and we're going to revisit those probably. I think Frank maybe every quarter. I think we said,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
will
we'll
it
kind
be
of do a check
happier?
in. Yeah, we'll do a check in a time for two. We'll never tell
But
you when though. We'll keep it we'll keep it
Keep it
quiet.
secret.
It'll well,
The
we're not going to give you time to prepare and go
the
catch up your
Delta
journal.
Dog Illuminati, they got to keep their meeting secret. This is accurate. This is
That's
accurate.
right.
I love the goal thoughts because everybody has these New Year's resolutions, correct? And I'm sure many have broken their New Year's resolutions. But
Already.
I was sitting in a meeting the other day and we were talking about goal setting. And basically, the individual's name's Kurt. He's part of us at Tackle, but he says, "All right, what's your rock? What is your number one goal that you want to achieve this year? That's your rock." And then you need to think about all those minor steps that you need to take along the way to achieve your rock. And I just felt it was such a good way of thinking about it, because we all have big time goals and we all want those goals to get achieved in as quickest, most effective, most efficient way possible. But it really truly is the small steps that we take on a day in, day out basis that gets us to achieve those rocks. And so for the community out there, what's your rock this year and how are you going to achieve it? And let us know over there in the step channel. And so as a community, we have these conversations. We have probably more intimate conversations with each other than almost any other
Well, we
trading and
definitely we
investing
do some
community out there.
chatting. Yeah,
We do. We
absolutely. It's
do. We're very
important though.
open.
It's
We're very
important.
open.
Yeah.
It is important. It absolutely is. And if you're looking for an amazing community to call home that you can navigate the financial world together, there's no better place than the best one out there. That's Tackle Trading. You can sign up for a free 15-day trial of Tackle Trading. We're still in our holiday season as well. So if you're looking for great discounts on educational products, if you're looking for an annual membership at Tackle, want to get a part of the Delta Dog Trading Lab, Team Phoenix, whatever the case might be, you can hit those links in the description below as well. Team, thank you so much for hanging out with us for Trade Masters here today. If you love Trade Masters, hit that like and share, and we will see you next week for another edition at the same time, same channel. And do me a favor, team, tell somebody else about it, because we're terrible at telling people about it until we got into the lounge literally earlier today. And we're like, yeah, let's do Trade Masters
Yeah.
later on
Let's
today.
do it. We
So
missed it.
tell somebody about it. Come spread the good word of all things tackle trading and Trade Masters. With that said, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and we'll check you out tomorrow in the Traders Lounge.